How I met David Bowie. I met David Bowie at the Brooklyn Academy of Music. I was with Aaron Ginsberg. I was his plus one to attend the opening of Philip Glass's symphony called Low, which was based on the Bowie album Low that he did with Brian Eno. We got there a little late and the overture was just starting. We sat down and then I realized that we were sitting behind Bowie and Iman, his beautiful statuesque wife. At intermission, escorted into this little room, and that's when Bowie came over and said hello to Alan and introduced Iman, and Alan introduced me as a great young poet friend of his that he would always say. And then we went back to our seats for the second act. And then afterwards, there was an after party, and Alan was engaged in deep conversation with Bowie, and Iman started asking me questions. It was very polite, very sweet. And I noticed as a waiter came over with a tray of champagne, Bowie grabbed one and was just about to drink it, but had it at his side as he was talking to Alan. And Iman subtly, kind of behind his back, grabbed the drink, took it, and gave it to a waiter and looked at me and smiled. She's like, no, he's not good with that. So I thought that was really sweet. And, it showed that they had this intimacy, and it showed how great of a woman that she wouldn't kind of embarrass him and say, you shouldn't drink or whatever. She just subtly took it. Alan didn't notice, and Bowie was just, went on as if it didn't happen. It was very sweet. Over the years, I would meet Bowie. I was lucky enough to meet him a bunch of times. This one time he had invested in this English art magazine called Modern Painter, and they kind of relaunched it and they had a big party. I went there early, and he was there, and there was very few people, just kind of wait staff setting up the buffet or whatever it was. And we just talked about contemporary painting versus postmodernism, or I don't know, it was a very engaging conversation, and he had this ability to make you feel like you were the only person in the room. He really looked at you. And over the years, I would say to him, when he would say, hello, David, and I'd say, oh, you only remember my name because it's your name. He's like, no, I remember you. And what are you going to say? He's David Bowie. He's just such a gentleman, such a brilliant artist. I always would say to people that the two most polite people I ever met, that kind of tied for the most polite person, are David Bowie and Quentin Crisp. And that's very true. Bowie is just immaculate manners and just amazing person. And I was very fortunate to meet him when I was all of 20 years old in 1991 or 92. Maybe I was 21, or if that. And, he was an extraordinary presence on earth, and he is sorely missed. So that's how I met David Bowie.